You don't have to call Emeka. Nothing good comes out of him. Please leave him out of this and let us concentrate on the better alternative to get me well, said Mr. Uchendu. Welcome to Tales with Zika. On this channel, you get to enjoy life-changing family drama with lots of moral lessons. So let's dive into the story of the day. Once upon a time, there lived a family, Mr. and Mrs. Uchendu. Mr. Uchendu is an engineer in a very big company. He's a petroleum engineer, whereas Mrs. Uchendu, who is a medical doctor, she was the best surgeon in Abakaliki. So the family was great and mostly admired by the villagers. They loved how they were so wealthy and so planned, the richest family in Abakaliki. After 3 years of trial, Mrs. Uchendu, who gave birth to a set of twins named Ekene and Emeka. Ekene was the best child in their eyes. He was the perfect son they ever wanted. Whereas Emeka, who was seen as the dumbest, was always looked down on. Ekene, from childhood, always took first in his class. He always came out being the best student in all subjects. Whereas Emeka did not even pass most of his subjects. His parents were always offended with him, asking him, does Ekene have two heads? Are you both not brothers? And you both are twins. Emeka, you came out before Ekene. I thought they said the twin who comes out first is the eldest and most intelligent. Why is your case different? I'm not saying you should be as intelligent as Ekene, but can't you even sit up? One day, Emeka's class teacher suggested to Mr. and Mrs. Uchendu that Emeka should start a lesson, but they refused. They told her, we cannot allow Emeka start a lesson, whereas his brother isn't participating in any lesson and excelling well. He has to learn on his own. He has to be able to fight to see that in this world, nothing good comes easy. He should listen when he's being taught in class. Is his brother Ekene not also listening? So why should Emeka be given a preferential treatment? No, we are not going to assign any lesson teacher to him. He should pick up on his own. So the lesson teacher, being Mrs. Adeze, left without saying any further word as the parents of the child had refused. The constant pressure on Emeka became too much. They kept on pushing him. Emeka, can't you read your book? Emeka, why is it that Ekene is doing better than you in class? Why is it that Ekene comes out first and you don't even come out even 5th position? You're always coming out 10th or 18th position. That is bad. They concentrated more on Ekene, giving him all the attention he ever needed. When they were in secondary school, Ekene was given maximum attention. Ekene, who wanted to be a medical doctor, whatsoever he asked for was given to him. Whereas Emeka, who wanted to be an engineer like his father, failed maths woefully. The father became offended. I thought you said you want to be like me. I never failed maths while growing up. I always made my father proud. I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're serious. If I ever see you watching television or playing football outside, I'm going to break those legs of yours, said Mr. Uchendu. He was so offended with Emeka. Emeka was always lonely. He always sat down close to his bed, crying and thinking, why me? Am I truly dull the way they say I am? Is it that I can't get anything right? Can't I just be like my brother Ekene, who gets everything right? Emeka was heartbroken. Even as a young age, he felt the torment and pain that came with being perfect from his parents. Gradually, they both graduated from secondary school. Ekene, who came out the best in his set, came out with flying colors, whereas Emeka did not make most of his papers, as he even had to recite his WAEC and JAM together. Mr. and Mrs. Uchendu warned him seriously if he doesn't make his jam for the second time, he won't be sent to the university. They were going to send him to go and learn handwork in the village market. For Ekene, Ekene was sent to a private university to study medicine. His parents told him, you need concentration. You don't need strike during your period of study. You need to be given all the amenities you need so that you can excel in your field of medicine. Medicine is not a small course, you know, Mrs. Uchendu asked Ekene. And Ekene said, yes, mom, I know, and I'm going to always make you proud. And they both hugged Ekene tightly, congratulating him on excelling well. Ekene, who went to the university and was doing excellently well. Ekene's brain was like fire. He was called genius, even from university. Whatsoever course that was taught for the day, Ekene goes back home to memorize the course, read through it. He knew what he wanted out of life, so he was ready to excel, and he always wanted to be the best child to his parents. Whereas Emeka, who failed his WAEC and JAM again, so his parents, out of anger, sent him to a shop that does supply of engineering materials. His father told him, since you can't be an engineer by going to school, you can as well be an engineer by watching other people build the structures. Emeka, who was heartbroken, with perseverance, he told himself, I must be an engineer and a mechanical engineer at that. I must come out being great. As time went on, while in Mr. Okonkwo's engineering shop, Mr. Okonkwo supplied most of the engineering materials needed to construction company in Abakaliki. One day, Emeka took permission from Mr. Okonkwo, telling him that please, he would like to register for the upcoming WAEC and JAM. Mr. Okonkwo looked at him and told him, I thought your father said you failed it twice. Why are you still going to register? And he told him, I want to make myself proud. I want to become something in life. So Mr. Okonkwo permitted him to go. Mr. Okonkwo had doubts in him. He told himself, well, even if he fails or not, at least it is his own shame. His parents don't know he's going to register for JAM and WAEC again. But this time around, Emeka pushed himself seriously. He braced himself. He made sure he burnt midnight candle. Emeka was ready to read from the moment he closes from work to the next morning. Emeka kept on reading, studying his maths, studying his English, his physics, his chemistry. Emeka kept on reading, pushing and pushing. And when his WAEC result was out, Emeka made his both papers. He was so glad. He could not contain his excitement, though he still kept it to himself, as his parents had given up on him and concentrated more on Ekene, who was the favorite child and the one that was excelling in his career. Ekene, who is almost done with medical school and preparing for his internship, he asked his mother if he could come and do internship in her organization. And she said, yes, I'll talk to my MD about it. You don't have an issue. So Ekene, who worked towards doing his internship in his mother's organization, was so excited. He was almost rounding up with school and was glad he had already gotten an internship space already. Emeka, who paid his school fees by himself and wasn't privileged to afford a private university like his brother, soon sent himself to school all on his own. From the little money Mr. Okonkwo pays him at the end of the day, Emeka saved enough money and was going to school every day from Mr. Okonkwo's shop. Emeka kept on going to school and he graduated with flying colors. But Emeka did not tell any of his family members. They only saw him as a boy of Mr. Okonkwo. None of his family members knew he was a graduate of mechanical engineering. With the knowledge acquired from Mr. Okonkwo's shop and that acquired from school, Emeka became genius because he already knew the theoretical aspect of engineering that he needed when structuring his own company. And Emeka kept on gathering wealth, gathering money, gathering knowledge as they always supply goods to different engineering firms. He also started giving out his complimentary cards to this engineering firm, telling them that if they ever need his assistance, he's always available. Soon, Emeka started getting contracts from the engineering firm and he started providing them his services, making him wealthy. Whereas for Ekene, who was already done with his internship and residency, did not choose surgeon as his parents thought he was going to. Ekene, who became a pediatrician against his parents' wish, they always wanted him to become a surgeon, but he chose being a pediatrician, telling them that that was the course he always wanted to. Attention weren't given much to children, so he chose the course, and that is where he wanted to be. Even though they weren't excited at first, but they still went on with him because he was a favorite child and nothing he did was ever wrong in their sight. And he also was excelling as he was done with his residency. A big organization employed him and the pay was coming big and huge. One fateful day, while Mr. Uchenna was in his office, he collapsed and his secretary immediately called his wife, telling her her husband has collapsed. She ran to the office, carried him to the hospital immediately, and when they got to the hospital, he was diagnosed with third stage brain cancer and will need an immediate surgery. His wife, who was a surgeon but was not specialized in cancer cells, could not do the surgery. While they were trying to gather money for his surgery, they found out that the money they had wasn't enough. So they decided to start the treatment first and gather enough money in order to send him out for his surgery. That day, Emeka heard of the issue with his father. So he decided to go pay him a visit in the hospital as he was still being admitted in the hospital. While Emeka was about to open the door, he heard a conversation between his parents and his brother Ekene. Ekene, who was trying to call his brother Emeka to inform him about his parents' sickness. But Mr. Uchenna told him, don't call Emeka. Nothing good comes out of him. What is he going to contribute? Eh? Is he not the houseboy of Mr. Okonkwo? What do you think Emeka can contribute now? Or do you just want to waste your credit? Emeka has no money. Instead, we should think of taking a loan from bank. Emeka has nothing to offer to us. After a few minutes, Emeka opened the door and greeted them. Papa, Mama, good afternoon. And he shook his brother's hand and greeted him. Good afternoon. Mr. Uchendu, with frown face, looking at him. How are you? Emeka said, I'm fine. And he looked at him and said, how is Mr. Okonkwo? Emeka said, Mr. Okonkwo is fine. And he asked, so, what brought you to the hospital? Or is it today you are hearing that I am not feeling fine? Emeka who responded by saying, I'm sorry, Dad. I've been very busy. And the moment I heard you were admitted, I ran to the hospital. Mr. Uchendu looked at him. Okay, pass me some water. I need to drink water. Emeka stood there looking at his father, but did not know what to say. So, as they were conversing on how to generate the money, Emeka did not utter a single word. He did not say nothing. He listened to what they had to say, how they were going to raise the fund, how they wanted to take a loan from a bank, and how they were going to place Mr. Uchendu's business as a collateral for the loan. He did not say a word. When they were done discussing, he was about to leave. As he was about to open the door, a young man who knew him from school, also worked with him when he was doing business for a particular company, entered and greeted him. Good afternoon, boss. His parents and Ekene looked at him. In their thoughts, they thought there must be a mistake. The young man greeted him. Good afternoon, sir. Emeka greeted him. Good afternoon. How are you doing today? And he said, I'm fine. Emeka excused himself and left. The young man, being one of Ekene's friend, heard that his father was not feeling fine, so he decided to come and check up on him. And when Emeka left and closed the door, Mr. Uchendu and his wife quickly asked, you greeted Emeka good afternoon, boss. Do you know him? And the young man opened up and told them that, Emeka is your son, right? And they said, yes, he's my son. And he was looking at them in shock. Don't you know that Emeka is the owner of that big construction company? And they were shocked. Which construction company? And I'm sorry. You don't know the construction company called La Vita? That is owned by Emeka. They were all dumbfounded. You mean La Vita is owned by Emeka? And he said yes. And he was looking at them surprised. I don't understand. Don't you know your son owned the construction company? They said no. After the young man left, Mrs. Uchendu called Emeka on phone, pretending to be nice and asking him how his day was and if he had eaten, and asked if he will be visiting the hospital the next day, to which he responded, yes, I will. Is there any issue? And she said, no, I just wanted to know if you will be visiting. And Emeka said, yes, I'll be visiting Papa tomorrow. When Emeka visited the next day, he noticed a different atmosphere. The atmosphere wasn't giving a look of judgment. It was giving welcoming. And he knew that something must have happened. The young man he saw yesterday must have said something. After greeting them and dropping the basket of fruits he brought for his father, the father said, Emeka, so you have the money we've been looking for all this while and you did not see anything. And he looked at his parents and said, while I was coming here yesterday, I had the intention to fly you immediately for your treatment. But when I was about to open the door, I heard you when you said, don't call Emeka, nothing good comes out of him. Papa, so please, what good is going to come out of me if I fly you abroad? You won't still appreciate it. You're still going to say, I want to flaunt my money on you. So I decided to keep calm so that you can figure it your way since you know what you want to do. Mr. Uchendu, who knew that he had no time and needed to fly immediately for his surgery, started begging, we are sorry. I am deeply sorry for the way I treated you. I am very, very sorry. It's really bad of me for what I did to you, but please have mercy. Forgive us. We didn't do it to make you feel bad. We only did it so that you can be able to be strong and have a fit in the outside world. Emeka looked at them and said, no problem. I now have a fit in the outside world. And I am grateful that you treated me that way, making me understand that in this world you are all alone. They all looked at him shocked. Emeka, you're getting it all wrong. We are begging for your forgiveness. Please forgive us and come back so that we can become one big happy family. Let bygones be bygones. Biko, oh, Emeka said, no problem, Mama. No problem, Papa. I'm going to fly you tomorrow morning for your treatment. I'm going to handle all the bills, but when you return, I would like to have a word with you. So they all agreed.
Please, if you enjoy watching the story, please give it a like, subscribe, and don't forget to check our previous stories as I hope and know you will enjoy them too. Thank you.